Now, that's okay. Now, if you can stay, please do, because this one is going to rock you. So Noah, I'm going to give you the formal stuff, then I'm going to give you the informal stuff. Noah is coordinator at Edible Bristol and son to the founder of Edible Bristol, Sarah Venn. Within a storm of recovery, acceptance, and pain, emerged a relationship between mother and son that was utterly unbreakable. Growing up always knowing he was different, but never being able to, until now, use his voice. After hitting rock bottom, trigger warning, guys, if you're going to chat, can you fuck off? And if you're going to stay, can you pipe down? Thank you. And knowing always that he was different, but until now unable to use his voice. Noah hit rock bottom and became a victim of a horrific life-changing assault. And since then, he's clawed his way back to literally be a new man. Now, I feel privileged to know you and to have watched you grow.
Is this working?
Yeah, it's working, yeah. I'll put it on your chin. It's a really good gauge, yeah. There's a saying that we use. I run a few men's groups, and there's a saying that we use. You can't become a man until you've grown tired of being a child. And I think that's true. And it's not just about men. But that's the context I use it. And I've watched you through the eyes of Instagram and through the love of your mother stop being a child and truly grow into being a man.
She is my biggest fan, to be fair.
And we're hers, right? We'll talk about Mum in a minute.
She's a good egg.
Yeah, she truly is. But I start, Noah, with the same three questions. Tell me what your childhood tasted like, sounded like, and smelled of in any order.
So taste, probably cheese on toast. It was the only thing I actually ate growing up for breakfast. You know when you struggle getting your kids to eat breakfast? Yeah, it was cheese on toast. And my mum hates grilled cheese. She hates the smell of it. So it was a bit of a labour of love for her to actually make it for me. But yeah, cheese on toast.
You had that for breakfast every day?
Well, yeah, before school.
Yeah?
And was that or Cookie Crisp?
Was that, were you like cheddar, red Leicester? What was your preference?
Anything I could get my hands on.
Goat's cheese?
No.
Yeah, I knew that. I knew we were going to get that face.
Not on toast, Mark. Come on.
So that's your taste.
Yeah.
What did your childhood sound like?
Probably a lot of pots clattering in the kitchen. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know when it's Sunday and you're trying to have a lie-in as a kid / teenager and your mum's in the kitchen trying to make, a cup of tea, but it just sounds like she's making a full-on roast dinner for breakfast. Yeah, that.
But you see that background music, that like the David Gray or the Dido to our lives, changes.
Yeah, completely.
And it's really wonderful sometimes to wake up to the noise of that.
Yeah, it's homely, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's definitely homely, and it's something you miss when it's gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't mind hearing it.
So that's taste and sound, but the real time machine is smell. What did your childhood smell of?
Cut grass. Just wet cut grass. So we grew up in Buckinghamshire, and we lived in a council flat. So the council would come out and cut the grass all the time in the summer. And you know when you just smell the wet cut grass, and then you'd walk to school, and the school fields is all cut, and it's all you can't beat it in my opinion. But that's probably the majority of my life I've been smelling anyway.
No, I played rugby, and my childhood smelled of muddy knees, cut grass, the burn of lime. We used to use a lime on the side of the pitch to mark, and it would burn your leg
sweat
if you got on it. And then liniment, Ralgex from the changing rooms.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
That was my childhood.
Nice.
But you've actually started with something where it's probably where we're going to end as well, and that's the idea of council spaces being so bland that they're just moan. Yeah. And we're probably going to end there. But tell me, what was growing up like for you? So you're in Buckinghamshire, but were you there for long? How was school? What was that like?
School was all right. I quite enjoyed school, but I was deeply unhappy all through school. I couldn't be myself. I was up against a lot. As a teenager, I had to grow up quite quickly, and I moved out quite quickly. So I had to stand on my own 2 feet. That was all my own choice, like my own choice. I ran away from my mum, basically. I knew that she was going to give me the love that I needed all my life, and I wasn't ready to accept it, basically, because I knew that my mum knew who I was, and I didn't want to accept who I was for 30 fucking years. So, yeah.
And Noah Cooper, who were you hiding?
I was hiding Noah Cooper. I was Emily Cooper. I am transgender last year I came out. This year I hit a year on testosterone. And, my life's just turned around since that day, when I told my mum and I asked for her support, and she's, here I am, a new man, literally.
And you're so welcome, as you are.
Thank you.
Your mum knew, right?
Oh, God, yeah. She knew, when I was about 4. I was always playing football. I didn't like Barbies. I hated long hair, even though I went through a phase. See, my phase was having long hair. It's complete opposite of what people actually think the phase is. But yeah, she always knew. All my family knew, and I was the only one that was actually fighting against myself. Really, I was ashamed. I'm not ashamed to admit that I was ashamed. And I had to fight myself every day. Every day I had to fight myself from either being me or dying, really. Even my mum says that it wouldn't have been long if I'd have kept going the way I was going, because I just hated myself. I really did, to the point where I became a Class A drug addict. I was homeless, and I got to the darkest of places, and then I had to turn around and say, Mum, I need help. And she was there.
And, I mean, it's really brave of you to have this conversation. But when you say the darkest of places, it really truly was the darkest of places.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to hear you use the word shame. And it has a really long half-life, shame. It's not just a point. It spreads through your life.
Yes, it definitely does. It doesn't stop either. You trans shame, but you transfer your shame to other places.
Well, it's interesting. There's some fascinating research about how we transfer shame generationally as well. When we're not able to be ourselves, we tend to pass that on subconsciously. But I'm really interested in that's a shame that was framed by society more widely than by your little unit, because your little unit seems like unbelievably accepting and loving.
It was completely within me. It was not my parents' fault. I've got such supportive family. They're amazing. They are amazing, and it was how amazing they were that made me feel like I was a failure, and just made me keep failing and keep failing and keep failing until I just didn't have anything.
Was there part of you that was trying to almost shock your parents because they were so accepting?
I don't think so. I think I have done everything that I could to shock my parents. I've done a few questionable things, but it's in the past. But I think when you fuck up so much, then you feel like you're in such a hole that you don't want to fuck up anymore. And I felt like coming out was going to be like a fuck up, which is ridiculous. Like, that's not a fuck up. That's you being authentic to yourself, and no one ever should be ashamed of that. And that is one of the things I I want to go forward doing is making sure that no one has to ever feel shame through their sexuality or their gender identity.
It's lovely. Before we move into something really positive, I'm going to be really brave and ask this question. What does heroin feel like when you take it? Honestly.
Sex.
Does it?
It's not something to be proud of, but there's a reason why it's addictive.
Sure. Yeah, I'm not glorifying it. I've never taken it. I'm really interested.
it's don't do it. Don't do drugs, kids. Please.
The thing is, Noah, I agree with you. It's crazy. But I don't think you'd be where you are now if you hadn't.
100%. I had to go down to the bottom to get to where I am now and get to where I will be in 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 10 years, you know?
And it's lovely to hear you talking about long-term stuff because at one point you
100%. And not exactly long ago either. Do you know what I mean? I've been clean 2 years on the 5th of December. So, thank you. Thank you very much. It wasn't fucking easy.
Yeah, I gather.
But the thing that is actually the hardest is walking away from a life. The addiction isn't actually all physical when to do with the drugs. You have to walk away from people that you think are your family, people that you think are your ride or dies, people who you've been using with for years, and you have to leave them behind, which is actually, as selfless as it is, at the time it feels selfish, and it makes you stay, which is why I think it takes people so long to actually recover or get into recovery.
Which was more difficult, coming out or giving up heroin?
Coming out.
I find it really interesting because it's so you, right? Even back then, I could see it in you, and the denial of nature of yourself. That must have been incredibly compressing for you.
Yeah. I think it's the fear of losing people. It's the fear of losing, and it's the fear of what people will say. Like, I know that sounds ridiculous, but I was just before I got clean. I was a victim of a really bad assault. I nearly got killed by a friend, and that sort of turned everything around and made me fear my friends, and it made me fear what they may say. And this is how it's always been, even before then, I've been afraid of what people will say, because words hurt me more. Like, throughout that attack, I don't remember the violence. I remember the words. So words just cut so much deeper. And since I came out, I've actually not had any bad words said to me, which makes me feel like a fool.
No, you're not a fool. No, the fear and the like, all the best things sit just the other side of fear. No two ways about that. And that whole feeling of the imagined catastrophe is significantly worse than anything that will actually happen.
Yeah, I thought I was going to lose half my family, all my friends, and then I realized, actually, no, you don't have any friends anyway. But, I didn't lose anyone. Why would I lose anyone?
Yeah, you've gained them.
I'm actually much nicer now than I used to be, because I'm not angry all the time.
Anger's an energy, but you've got to do something constructive with it.
Exactly, and that's where we are now.
And that's where we'll go, right? So I'm really interested. I mean, you don't know this, I don't think, but back in the late 90s, I helped a woman called Pam Warhurst in Halifax set up a really little project called Incredible Edible.
Incredible Edible.
No, I kept it secret from you. And all I did was stand at the side cheering. Pam is a dear friend.
I know Pam.
I love her to pieces. And to watch, like a tree drops its acorns and those acorns may get carried and grow 20 miles away, but the mother tree will be able to communicate with the baby tree. I feel that about Incredible Edible. To watch this cell emerge in Bristol, and it's a powerful cell, I know it's still connected to the mothership.
Yeah, we have kind of branched away. But
Yeah, but she still loves you.
technically, we're only Edible Bristol now. But it's still incredible.
She still loves you,
We love
as
her.
your mother does you, no matter how far away you went.
Yeah.
Tell me about Incredible Edible Bristol. Tell me about Mum's role in that, and tell me about Mum now.
So my mum is called Sarah Venn, and I don't know if anyone here knows my mum. Okay, good. She's a legend. She is a mighty, small, powerful woman. And 10 years ago, she moved from Buckinghamshire to Bristol and started Incredible Edible Bristol, where we take sometimes barren land, sometimes just bits of land that have been forgotten, and we grow food for the community that is around that place. And we ask the community to help us, and we also teach the community how to grow the food themselves. And we've also got what I call HQ in Speedwell in Bristol. That is a allotment on steroids, I like to call it. It's about, I think it's 8 allotments all in one, so it's pretty big. And I head that up. That's where we grow most of our food, and that's where next year we'll be growing a lot of food and packaging a lot of food and getting it out to homeless shelters and community kitchens, community centres and stuff like that around Bristol. Obviously, there's quite a lot of things to do, but that's where we're at. What was the rest of the question?
No, I'm interested in Mum.
Right, Mum. Yeah, so she did that, and this year has been a little bit different. In April, she got a migraine that turned out to be 2 brain tumours, and she is currently in the Royal Gwent Hospital in Newport. She should be here right now, but she isn't. She's cheering me on from the sidelines. My mum's a writer as well and a social activist. She talks a lot about social injustices on Instagram, as some of you may know. She's a very chatty woman. Ironically, she's lost her voice through the cancer. Where the tumours are, it's stopped her communication fully. Well, not fully. She says yes, no, and I love you, which to me is all I need. But it's hard. It's really fucking hard. She uses her voice every day, and I now have to use my voice for her, and that's not comfortable for me. This is the first time I've ever been on a stage. She knows this is not me. This is her. But now I'm doing it for her, and I have to. I've got to make this a success.
It's really interesting. I invited both Sarah and Noah, and they both said yes. And then obviously Sarah got ill, and I thought, I don't know whether Noah will do this. And when I say I've watched Noah grow into a man, like that's been the last 2 months, because you took over her Instagram. You found a voice to speak to her many, many followers. You used words that aren't hers, that are definitely yours, but you could feel the half-life of her through you, and the outpouring of love that you had and then you got back was quite astonishing.
I'm definitely my mother's son.
You really are. Have you been able to communicate some of that back to her?
I have. I go there. I see her every day. I make sure I go over there every day, or sometimes I take a day off. But every day I'm over there. She's completely coherent. Like she in her. I said to her, Mum, when you're like trying, because she gets so frustrated trying to get her words out. It's actually really hard to like watch, but. She and I said, are you just screaming in your head and you can't get the words out? And she went, yes. And I was like, oh, fuck, that must be so hard. Like, that must be so shit. So everything that I get told on Instagram, anyone messages me, comments, everything like that, I sit there and I tell her all the... And do you know what she does? She just cries. She cries because she just really feels so emotional of how much support that I'm getting. Like, she couldn't really care less of what people say to her, like, do you know what I mean? But she knows that I'm safe with, like, all her supporters and stuff like that, which is true. I've had, like, the biggest shock to me the last few months has actually been the support that I've got from people I have no idea who they are.
You didn't know who I was when I called you, right?
I didn't know who you were till you called me.
Some twats just rang me and he's asked me.
Who the fuck's this?
I can't if you know Sarah, you'll know this to be true. She is loved so much. She is a powerhouse, a small powerhouse of change, and she is almost single-handedly taking food to the centre of the political agenda, and it is a political agenda in Bristol. And you've come from, being utterly broken to having to hold that responsibility. That's massive, Noah. And it takes a village. We know that, and you have got a village. But I just need to tell you how much love there is for you both. And how much we're all cheering. Those that know, we're all cheering. Tell me, we had a lovely conversation this morning. I hope I'm not saying anything wrong. Noah went, yes, I've taken over Incredible Edible Bristol, and I've had a look at the finances, and we're in a bit of a pickle. So tell us, what's the plan? How do we get through the next year?
I need some funding. Badly.
And we'll work on that. But what are you planning to do on the ground? How can we mobilize more communities? How can we change a gentrifying city that doesn't struggle on the whole with buying food to one that looks in the forgotten corners of the city to support those that need it and grow in the crevices that aren't currently being used?
So, I've got a plan. Our HQ site is enormous and we've got some space. So what I want to do is I want to keep growing, obviously. Keep growing, lots of food. And I want to build a kitchen, outside kitchen, where so for example, I grew so many tomatoes this year. I'm sick of tomatoes. Like, I can't eat another tomato for at least 2 months. About 15 kilos. Which wasn't too bad out of one polytunnel. Well, one small polytunnel as well. So I was like, what the hell can we do next year? Like, because this year, I've been here, there, and everywhere, stressed. We haven't done as well as we could have done this year, putting food out. And I'm the first to admit my faults. And, with Mum being in hospital, me being thrown at the deep end, I didn't know what I was doing for at least 2 months. So now my feet are actually on the ground. I've got a plan. So the kitchen, I want to be able to make long life foods. So for the tomatoes, I just want to make a load of pasta sauces, vacuum them up, get them down to the food banks, get them down to anywhere that will take them, that will help. Stuff like that. And then hopefully have like food nights where we can get the community together, get all our volunteers together with the community and have nice times as well as work. Do you know what I mean? Because I think there's been way too much of the happiness drawn out of it. And to me, growing food and eating food means happiness.
Absolutely, and it's a theme that we've came across a lot last night, and again also with that Blackfish conversation. The sense of community and gathering around food, rather than grabbing something on the go and you literally shit it out 3 hours later and put the wrapper in the bin 2 minutes later. We've lost ceremony and cohesiveness. Yeah. And as you're talking, I need to connect you with some food canners, producers. There's obviously Rubies in the Rubble, but there's a brand here which might need a healing, had to happen with Pam.
Yeah.
There's a brand here that I think would go really well.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few little projects. If anyone's interested, then message me on Instagram. I'm happy to go through them if you're interested. Next year, I want to be completely self-sufficient on compost. Completely. And that's a brave little statement, but I will do it. But I need funding.
I can help you there. We'll pick that up later.
Okay.
I want to take us back to the beginning. You're in Buckinghamshire. Out the window, you can hear the mower probably waking you up, and the smell of cut grass. The way that local authorities manage their land bank and their estate is for ease of management rather than the benefit of the community.
I've worked for councils. I know exactly what they do.
How do we shift that? What do we need to do outside of Incredible Edible on a policy level to make use of all of the green space so it's productive? I'm going to use the R word, regenerative, building soil sequestration and soil carbon and producing food for those that can't afford it.
Education.
Let's have a few rounds with the council.
Yeah, but also don't ask for permission. It's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission.
I absolutely love that. And one of my favourite Pam Warhurst stories, and I apologise for mentioning her again, was when she took the flower beds outside of the police station in Halifax over and just started planting sweet corn. Didn't tell them. People would go and pick them in late September. Everyone was, what are you doing? Picking the sweet corn.
Why not? Why not?
Exactly. It's our land.
Why not?
It's our land.
If it's going to feed someone, then why not?
I love that. We've got about 5 minutes. Oh, God, my voice is going. Got about 5 minutes for questions. If anyone's got any questions in the audience, I would love to receive some. And I can stop talking. Any questions at all? Good. Yes, please. And then one over there. Wait for the microphone. Sorry.
No, you've done such an amazing job of picking up what your mom's doing. And of course, we all followed your story through your mom all those years while she was waiting for the real you to emerge. Is your passion for food? Are you doing this because it's a family heritage? Is there something else you would be doing if your mom wasn't ill right now?
So after school, I studied horticulture at Berkshire College of Agriculture, and I worked for mostly tree nurseries for a few years. Did a couple of Chelseas with them, and after that, I sort of jumped from here to there. But I've also always had a passion for growing, mostly for trees. Like that's that's actually what I'm really interested in, like just as a hobby more than anything else. But this has sort of evolved into something that has made sense for me and makes me happy. I am at college also becoming a barber, but that's just on the side because I can, really.
That's brilliant. And there was another
Barber
question.
in the garden. I think it's a great sideline.
Thank you.
There's another question about 5 rows back, 4 rows back. Thank you. Was there 2 there? Did I miss another one?
What's your standout project that has been delivered through Incredible Edible? Is there something that really you were really connected to?
So my personal project is my Speedwell project. We've just installed 8,000 litre IBCs, so we catch all our own water. That was a huge project. That to me, I know it sounds really boring putting up a load of guttering and all that, but to me that's just a bit of fun, really. All our projects there mean a lot to me. I've got a side project going on where I'm trying to make quite a pretty little garden for Mum to come sit in. That's a good one. The project I'm actually most proud of is our Avonmouth project. In Avonmouth, Bristol, if anyone knows it, we have the secret garden. And it's you wouldn't see it if you didn't know it was there. That's how secret it is. But you walk through this door and you literally walk into just the most beautiful little paradise that you would not think would be there. and there's just strawberries and corn growing, and the sunflowers have just gone over, but when the sunflowers out, it was amazing, and it's just a beautiful little place. I would really recommend anyone going if they're getting off the train in Avonmouth.
Brilliant. Wonderful. Any other questions before we close? We have a 10-minute break, then we're going to come back again. But before, anything else? No, I mean, I'm going to wrap up because, I mean, I'm really emotional about your mum. I've met her like 3 times, but I know her inside and out. And to watch your story, to watch your mum put the right fertilizer on the right soil, give it the right light and enough water to watch stuff grow, including you, is nothing other than joyous.
Thank you.
And I'm really glad you're still with us, and thank you for coming today.
Thanks for having me.
So we're going to have a really quick break. So you don't have to, you can hang around if you